Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's Starport. This is Jason here at New Dimensions Crystals and Reiki in downtown Brandon, Texas. We're right here next to the radio station, KTEX 106 blue awning and New Dimensions Crystals green awning, just across the street from the downtown library, or not the library, the museum. So come by and see us in case you're wondering where we are. Today's report is for April the 2nd through April the 8th, 2025. And we, as usual, start with the sun. The sun has been active except for yesterday or over the past day. And so the sun has had an uptick in solar flares. And we had a large M class solar flare with some CMEs Earth directed. So those should be impacting soon. Um, just a reminder, since we haven't talked about CMEs in a while, those are usually going to trigger a sort of uptick in heart rate. If you have heart issues, you might have a minor episode. If you have chronic diseases like a lupus or something like, look for like a flare up or something that could occur. Doesn't have to occur. Don't want to put that hurt on you, but these are the typical things with our lowered Earth protection field from those solar energies. These are the kinds of things that extra solar energy instigates. We are currently still in the solar sign of Aries, right? And so alchemically, the zodiac works with the physical body, the human form, and it corresponds with our crown chakra or Aries with the horns, the third ventricle, that sort of inner space in between our two hemispheres of the brain, right? Sometimes mostly fluid, and you sort of think of that as if you take a CAT scan of that, it does look like horns, right? So the ram, Aries, horns, all things. These are the things that sort of give us the ability to sort of see forward and backward in time. So a lot of times when we sort of shift into Aries, right, we sort of see the nature of what's sort of happening, right? If Aries is spring, then we see the nature of what we've worked on for ourselves and how that's going to grow and what we're going to become. And we can also see backwards to see how far we've come and how much we've changed. So that's a pretty cool energy that's going on with us right now. We are currently in still two retrogrades, at least till almost the end of this week's report. And that is Venus and Mercury. Of course, Venus in retrograde, sometimes it has something to do with how we love, excuse me, how we love. But mostly it's about how we self-love and how we feel our self-worth and worthy of the love that we're actually looking for. So that's a lot of the work that goes on during Venus retrograde. And of course, Mercury retrograde, communications, the ability to sort of plan, the ability to sort of move, right? So mobility, how are we going to move in the world? How are we going to move to the next level in the world? Those are the kind of energies that come with Mercury retrograde. And of course, those working together, a lot of times the common or the fun to talk about experience of these retrogrades as people come back out of the woodworks back into your life to give you that lesson like, hey, did you learn that, right? A lot of times, if you're not paying attention, you're mistaking that for like, oh my God, these people came back and that's what I've wanted, right? They might teach you the exact same lesson if you haven't learned it already. Not to say that you can't have reunions that are totally perfect and fine, but in general, that is not the case. Um, Yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I think those are the retrogrades. Moves us right along into today, Wednesday, April the 2nd. The energy after the eclipse that was on Saturday is really sort of ramping up. And so you should feel a little bit more motivated to sort of finish some projects that you might have been procrastinating about, right? So during that eclipse window and that eclipse season, as we're sort of moving past that, you might have just sort of felt overwhelmed with the energy. A lot of times things might not have just sort of felt like the right time to do them. If you are a money making citizen of the United States, tax day is coming up. Maybe you haven't started your taxes yet. Maybe your taxes were complicated and you just didn't want to tackle it, or maybe you're unsure about shifts in your money situation, and so you don't know if you owe any money, and so you don't want to know. So you haven't been filing that out. That could be some energy that's sort of messing with you today. Mars and Uranus are usually or not usually are combining or sort of affecting the day's energy, and that's really going to make you if you're doing these things. A lot of time procrastination is we sort of go through a step process and we sort of hit a hitch in the get along, like, oh, that's not what I expected. The energy of Mars and Uranus is really going to sort of give you that ability to sort of shift on the fly rather than go, oh, sweet, I was procrastinating for a good reason, this is bullshit. You're going to go, hey, this is bullshit, but I think I can figure it out because I really want to get this shit done. Yeah. So that's the energy today, Wednesday. Feels like a good day or feels like good energy for a Wednesday because Wednesdays are kind of like, oh man, have I been at work for 3 days now? Yada, yada, yada. I'm saying yada, yada, yada a lot this morning. I catch on catchphrases and they just come out. But anyway, moving right along, I'm doing a lot too. Sorry about that because it's right in the microphone. Tomorrow, excuse me, is Thursday, April the 3rd. And really, the brightening of the moon, right? So the eclipse is usually solar eclipse is usually a new moon, right? So the moon is becoming brighter, and this self understanding sometimes. Who am I? What am I doing here? And especially if you're an adult, does this new me fit into this world? Are people going to be accepting of this, right? And so as the moon grows a little brighter, the feeling of confidence and or security sort of takes hold, right? I think I wrote down the word, this sort of sense that you're safe to be you in the world becomes clear and evident, and the cosmos is sort of working on that, right? It's like the cycles of energy really sort of crack us open, build us up, make us see some things about us, help us let some things go, and then all of a sudden we're new, right? And so we're constantly aware that we've shifted, and we're constantly aware that what if the world didn't shift with us, or if we're too different, or if we've gone too far, right? This is the whole thing about excelling in certain things, right? You don't want to be too good to invoke repercussions. So that's the sort of the energy that's going on Thursday. So just pay attention to that you're going to have this energy where A, you don't give a shit, B, you feel bulletproof, or C, you kind of notice that everybody else has shifted because the planet's doing some wonky things. And so you're not really worried that they're even looking outside themselves to see how you're doing. So good energy on Thursday. Moves us into Friday, 4 April 4th. And that's really the angelic gateway, right? The number 4 4, usually triple fours, 4 4 4. If you see it on a license plate, you see it in a number, you see it repeating out the day. It's sort of the hint that there is some angelic guidance going on. And depending on your view of angels, whether you sort of associate them with churchy kind of stuff or mythological kind of stuff or Dungeons and Dragons kind of stuff, or just in general messages from the other side, right? These can be those mythical kinds like Archangel Michael and Gabriel, right? Can sort of be guiding you like, hey, I've got you protected, keep going. Or it could be passed on loved ones that are angelic, right? On the other side, ghost like that are your spiritual guides that are helping you move right along. Parents, grandparents, children that you've lost before, right? This is the kind of energy that sort of happens on 4 4. Uh, oh yeah. And so I was like, what did I write? That's weird. Uh, one of the things that this guidance is going to help you with is not necessarily like, oh my God, you're going to ascend and put on the robes and be Jesus. This is really more you've done all the self exploration and have decided on a pathway. This is more kind of strategy. How should you accomplish that? And sort of helping you refine your plans about what's going on, right? So Friday would be a really good day to sort of pay attention to sort of see what you're doing. If there's shifts in work, things that you can think about or change over the weekend before you come back to work on Monday. That's usually Friday. Maybe take a half day and be like, hey, that's enough work. And I'm going to go figure out how to make next week better. All the things you could do on Friday the 4th. Moves into Saturday, the 5th of April. And the energies that are going to be messing with us. It doesn't have to be messing with us. It could be assisting us, right? It doesn't have to be like poking the bears or triggering us to change, right? Although sometimes triggers are more beneficial to change, right? There's sort of torque, right? If you don't have something to resist, what are you fighting for? So sort of pay attention to that. The energy on Saturday is going to be the combination of Venus and Mars, and those are two sort of like fire signs, or when they come together, they create fire, right? So men are from Mars, girls are from Venus, kind of energy. Or kind of thought about that, right? And the reason that sort of is inspiring or good to sort of use as extra torque, right? So you have this angelic guidance, and then you have this next day of these two planets. It's like polar opposites, right? If you have two opposites, a positive and a negative pole, right? Then those things, when they exist, they allow the current to move, right? So it's almost like you might have all this potential power, but if it's not sort of having these poles to move against, then it has a hard time moving. I think that's the way electricity works. I'm probably wrong because I'm not an electric engineer, but metaphysically, it feels right. Yeah. So, as one of my favorite YouTubers says, prune my lips, which means edit me. Google it if you feel like I'm wrong. Um, but the sentiment's there, right? So you need to have these two opposites so you can sort of, you know, push off against either side. It's kind of like if you're swimming back and forth. Oh, there we go. Here's a non-electrical thing. If you're swimming back and forth in a pool, you need two walls so that you can do the turn. Anyway, moving right along. Saturday feels like a good day. Sunday for six. The pre-shadow of midsummer retrogrades, right? So the far out planets, the pre-shadow seems to be a little bit longer. And that just sort of means that the planet begins to slow before it goes retrograde since it's so far out. Um, and so the pre-shadow for midsummer retrogrades, I think they're happening in July, about 14 weeks from Sunday, 13, 14 weeks from Sunday. And that's going to be Chiron and Saturn. And really, that's the idea that there's some kind of mystical inspiration that's going on in the heart center, right? Um, that you sort of have this interdimensional power when you work and act and live from the heart. So that sounds good. And so it might be a subtle shift for you, but just sort of understand that that's going to ramp up over the 4 weeks. And so when you sort of hit July 4th and whatnot, you know, we're going to be ready because I think it's like July 10th. I can't remember the date, but it's somewhere in July. You can also find that on the interwebs and not just my report. Leads us into Monday for 7, April the 7th. And that is going to be Mercury retrograde is over. Mercury goes direct. And so if you've been delaying contracts, planning travel, all the fun stuff, you can go ahead and jump right into that. You can begin to communicate with more clarity or less misunderstanding. You know, people will hear you more. Um, and then one of the sort of like subtle energies or the more mystical stuff is really as Mercury moves direct, we're going to be able to communicate more clearly without saying a bunch. We'll be able to communicate more clearly without more clearly about our divinity that Mercury, that Venus retrograde's been working on, right? So Venus has been in retrograde. Who are we? What are we worth? Oh my gosh, divine love. Do I love myself? And all the things, right? You could be able to communicate that, right? So if you've made decisions about who you really are and what you're really going to stand for and what kind of jobs you're going to have, then now you can communicate that with clarity, and people are going to hear it less like a you and more like a hey, this person really knows what they want. And I really am inspired by their ability to sort of know themselves and act, right? They still might resist or they still might not be able to sort of go along with the program, but they're going to hear it better and understand you more. So it's a good stuff happening on Monday, right? So if you do all the angelic guidance and take a half day on Friday, then by Monday you're like, listen here, this is what's happening. Um, yeah, that'll be a fun day. Um, like to see social media as everybody's like, hey, I saw this little report on the internet that hardly anybody watches. Only 300 of us, 350 of us pay attention to, but all of a sudden there's millions of people on the internet telling people on Monday when they come back to their jobs what's what. That'd be cool. Hey, we're starting a movement here, everybody. Film your first stand, your last stand, your new stand of who you are and what's going to happen in your life. Yeah. Anyway, it moves us into Tuesday, April the 8th. Begins the 2 week post shadow of Mercury retrograde. Really, it's sort of the resolution of the last 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, where anything that sort of shifted, any kind of people that came back into your life to sort of contemplate, like what was the point of that old relationship or old same person or new person, same bullshit, or all that kind of contemplation that you sort of got to look at in that mirror. This is going to start to resolve and go away, right? So you want to think that we hit the peak, then it goes direct, and then it starts to wane. So that's the energy of the week. Of course, I'm here at the shop at New Dimensions Crystals and Reiki. You can go to newdimensionscrystals.com, all plural, New Dimensions, plural crystals.com, and book a session if you need one. I had some really beneficial sessions, I think, over the last couple of weeks. Never cease to be amazed of the absolute expansive divinity that exists within people who don't know or aren't practicing or looking to be those things, and the awakenings that can happen during sessions. If you've never been before, obviously start with the cleanse if you are looking to get a session. And of course, walk ins are relatively available for tarot card readings. I think that's everything I want to say. I've been talking too long, and I've definitely gone past the time to open the shop. It's like I got here late to record. It's like I've been procrastinating. When is that going to happen? When can I stop procrastinating? Is that tomorrow? Awesome. Last day to procrastinate as I procrastinate ending the show. All right. I think that's enough. Oh, May the 4th, Sunday, I believe, in the afternoon. I think it's 2 in the afternoon, maybe 2:30 in the afternoon. I'll be doing breathwork along with Dodie and sound healing in Lagrange. Look for flyers on the social medias, Instagram and Facebook, to that effect. In case I've gotten the time wrong, but I believe it's May the 4th because we were like, ha, May the 4th be with you. Yeah, look for that. Breathwork's always great. Dodie sound healing is always superb. And I always like going and sharing over there. I believe it'll be at the Quilt Museum. So that's downtown LaGrange, Texas. Yeah. And so usually when the flyer comes out, that'll tell you how to reserve or book or pay ahead of time and all that fun stuff. I think it's a relatively large space, but there is always the potential to sell out. So as soon as that comes up, jump right in and sign up. I think I'm going to look for the stop button now. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, many blessings. Oh, did I not hit stop? Oh my goodness.